Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by ICOM. For more information, visit ICOMAmerica.com/HamNation.
This is Ham Nation, episode number 275, November 23rd, 2016, the eve of Thanksgiving. Good evening, everybody. It's Bob Heil, K9EID, and I'm back in town. I've been gone so much. It's been crazy, but it's been good because I visited with a lot of the Ham Nation viewers and fans around the country. We've been East Coast, West Coast, Canada, all that kind of stuff, but it's been a lot of fun. And here we are back home for a while, and we got some really good shows coming up. Tonight's going to be really special. Ted Randell's going to be on with us. He's the caretaker. He and his family keep that 200,000 watt and that 100,000 watt. I don't know how many other thousands of those monster transmitters. And we got some really nice pictures of that. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that because, as you probably well know, and if you don't, here it comes. This show is being simulcast on WTWW. So turn your shortwave receiver to 5085 and you'll hear us. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And we got all kinds of things. Dale's got a bunch of slides and pictures and all that stuff. And I'm not sure what it is with George. It's something about chemistry and smoke and oh, this could be dangerous. So let's go see who all's around here. We talking of George. How are you doing down in Mississippi? What are you doing with chemistry?
Well, you know, the world doesn't strictly revolve on solder and wires. Sometimes you got to pull out the chemicals. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to go back into the archives and pull out an oldie but a goodie.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll check it out. And Don, how are you doing? You all right tonight?
I'm good. I'm tired. Had a very, very long day and a short week. And we did, of course, 5 days of work in 3 days. And it's been nuts, but I'm good. I was listening to Ted Randell last night on WTWW. He had John Amadeo from Last Man Standing on last night. And I got to tell you, if you haven't listened to that radio station, it sounds so good. And Ted does such a great job, either as a talk show host or as an oldies disc jockey. Ted's the man. I'm looking forward to hearing from Ted. And we'll have Newsline too coming up, Bob. It's going to be a good night.
We have to remember that Ted's been a DJ for years, but he also is a great engineer. So family. We'll hear more about that. And Gordon, how are you doing in Southern Cal? You okay today?
We are just fine. Celebrating Thanksgiving, getting an early start on it. This is Spritzer, by the way. It's not alcoholic, so we're having a good, safe and sane time tonight, and you'll see more shortly. And don't forget, Last Man Standing a week from this coming Tuesday. On, that'll be the 6th. John's got the Leah family, and what great kids you're going to see on the airwaves when he puts them on the air at his studio. Back to you, Bob.
Okay, that's great. Well, we're starting to get all kinds of wishes in here. We have one in, this is from the Buzzard Net. How y'all like that? In LaGrange, Georgia. They sent this in, and I got a whole bunch of others that came in. Just had that one handy today, and so we appreciate all of that. Well, let's go see what the news of the day is. I know that Don's got some good stuff, so let's see what you got going, Don.
We do. Why don't we go ahead and jump right into that? Here are the headlines of the week from Amateur Radio Newsline. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2038, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, November 23rd, 2016. Thousands of people have been left stranded on a devastated landscape in New Zealand, which was shattered by a 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Monday, the 14th of November.
With a state of emergency declared in the Canterbury region, hardest hit by the quake, emergency response has included an international array of naval vessels. Defence Minister Jerry Brownlee told the New Zealand Herald that offers of help were accepted from the United States, Australia, Canada, Japan and Singapore. The fleet of rescue ships includes the first United States warship to visit New Zealand in 33 years. The quake, which caused extensive damage in Kaikoura and Kelvedon, killed at least 2 persons. One local ham, Ken Duffy, ZL4KD, activated the Christchurch repeater to listen for emergency and damage reports shortly after the first quake struck. He remained on the air through the series of aftershocks that occurred. As Amateur Radio Newsline went to production, hams continued to monitor frequencies while they awaited word from government agencies on their offer to step in during the rescue effort. Reporting for the Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF.
The changing of the guard continues with news of 2 prominent silent keys.
Yvan Pastre, F3AT, was considered one of the world's oldest radio amateurs, and at 102, that itself was quite an accomplishment. His achievements as a top DXer, however, were considered even more unparalleled by those who knew and respected him. Yvan's name can be found at the top of the DXCC honour roll, with a total of 388 entries confirmed. He also held 5 band DXCC honours. Licensed as F3AU in 1931, he was most active and proficient in CW throughout his long life, and he was celebrated for his varied operations. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
The amateur radio world also lost a noted leader active in the ARRL. Todd Olson, K0TO, is being remembered as an accomplished contester, mentor, and a positive influence by many in and out of the headquarters of the ARRL. Todd became a silent key November 12th at age 83, ending his long battle with cancer.
That was Jim Dameron, N8TMW. Finally this week, 'tis the season. Santa has a sack full of toys and a net full of hams.
We're now in our 11th year on 3916. This started, I had a young, probably a 7 or 8 year old at home. Somebody got the idea, hey, what if we connect some of the kids in our households to Santa? That was the humble beginnings of SantaNet.
Pete Thompson, KE5GGY, thinks he could have up to 400 Santa contacts this year, starting on November 25th, right through and including Christmas Eve, December 24th.
I would just encourage anybody to think about kids in your neighborhood, think about your own kids and grandkids, people that you can introduce to ham radio. That's the other thing that happens here.
Pete sent along this contact he made last year.
Robert, are you on the frequency?
Yes, I am. I've got my granddaughter Morgan sitting in my lap here.
Calling Santa Claus. This is KE5GGY in Dallas, Texas, trying to call Santa Claus at the North Pole. We have Morgan ready to talk to Santa Claus. Come in, Santa. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, everybody. And hello, is Morgan on the radio? Hello, Morgan. This is Santa Claus. Hello, Morgan. How are you doing? You're getting so big and so beautiful. And let me ask you a question, Morgan. Have you been a good girl this year? What? That's what it says on my good girl list. You're at the top of the list.
So if you know someone who wants to talk to Santa, just dial up 3916 weeknights at 7:30 p.m. Central, starting November 25th. For Amateur Radio Newsline, ho ho, I'm Kent Peterson, KC0DGY.
For the rest of this week's Amateur Radio News, please listen to the full Amateur Radio Newsline report online on a repeater near you or on shortwave radio station WTWW at 9930 and 5085 kilohertz. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at www.arnewsline.org. With Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF, Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, Jim Dameron, N8TMW, Kent Peterson, KC0DGY, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. And due to the proximity of Thanksgiving, no Dr. T tonight, but we wish her a lovely Thanksgiving and thank her for all the work that she does for us here at Amateur Radio Newsline and Ham Nation. Just a treasure. So happy that she's part of the team here. And so happy, too, that Newsline's heard on WTWW. Ted has been a longtime friend and supporter of Newsline, and we just appreciate Ted so much, and appreciate all of you out there too as well. So it's going to be an early night for me. I'm going to pull the plug on this and get my Thanksgiving evening started. I'm not going to be doing spritzers, but we'll have the Thanksgiving cheer. So Gordon, we'll throw it over to you, and so Dr. Bob and George and you, Gordon, and of course everybody else involved with Newsline. Wish you guys a very, very blessed Thanksgiving, and everyone out there watching in the chat room as well. So good night. Gordon, pick it up.
Well, thank you, Don. And this spritzer is for you, non-alcoholic. All right. We have so much to be thankful for as ham radio operators, and our chat room. You are the best. We're thankful for you keeping us on our toes. ICOM and DX Engineering, Harry's, all of our great supporters. So for Ham Nation on the eve of Thanksgiving, let's give Brian a little thanks to some of these short shots that indeed say Thanksgiving is here. Thank goodness for Thanksgiving for giving us a big crane for that new small antenna that you're planning on putting up. Just your minor antenna. That was the Barry Goldwater setup out here on the West Coast that's gone to the East Coast. And that is Eric, KL7AJ, admiring antenna at the Dayton Hamvention. And he didn't take it home to Alaska, but he would give thanks for having that in his backyard, as we all would. So there's my little minor one that I'll be talking to you on not only tonight after the net is over, but maybe tomorrow, or maybe we'll be at the beach. You never know. So antennas are important, and nothing worse to be thankful for, yes, that you didn't get hit by lightning this year. In fact, Skywarn Recognition Day, the Recognition Day is set for December 3rd, and you get a neat QSL. So on December 3rd, about a week and a half away, be prepared to hear a lot of Skywarn operators operating right there at the National Weather Service office near them. And hopefully we'll be thankful for no giant lightning strike. There's Chip, K7JA, and Gordo, and we're putting up our last year's antenna mast for Thanksgiving on the beach. And you see that stainless steel kettle? Well, that's no special kettle. That's the broiler that dropped the turkey in. That's Janet, who is the store manager of Ham Radio Outlet here in Anaheim, and she's making notes to know exactly when it went in and when it would go out. So a little sand in the turkey. We're thankful. Yeah. And then the police came in going, what the heck are you doing with all these antennas and stuff on the beach on Thanksgiving? Well, we found out they were really nice people. We were thankful that they didn't haul us off to jail. And no, we had no alcohol on the beach, so we were clean. And we're always thankful for no giant windstorms. There's nothing worse than a giant windstorm that takes a horizontal antenna and makes it vertical. And there's nothing worse than a giant windstorm that, did you hear that? What was that? And you go out and you take a look. Well, my antenna's up, but my buddy's antenna came down. Oh, man, that was a wind gust that you would not believe. We're thankful that no one got hurt other than a lot of aluminum, and it's happened to all of us. And be thankful that you're not the hairdresser having to doll up these good-looking ladies in time for the Dayton Hamvention last year and year before last. Their fixtures and their hair are fixtures as well. That's a good-looking antenna. Sort of like a ground plane disc cone. And even the pros have their antennas properly mounted on what I would hope would be an aluminum hard hat or maybe a steel hard hat, so we don't have radiation coming off of those twin power amplifier heat sinks into his noggin. We're thankful for that. And, of course, there's Joy, K6JOY. She's our sunny weather gal every morning on 7250 kilohertz out here on the West Coast. And she has her beam antenna well pointed for a field day. And always be thankful that you've left yourself a note on the steering wheel on your comm unit to remove the antenna before driving. Well, that we did, and the comm van survives, and we will for many miles to come. And there is Don, and Don's great-looking vehicle. But chat room, he's missing an antenna. Actually, he's missing a bunch of antennas, but maybe he's getting it all dusted off, ready to put some great antennas aboard. Good-looking wheels. Good-looking ride there, Don. And, Don, we're going to suggest a nice inductive matching network for that good-looking black vehicle. It may look a little strange, but for those of us that appreciate good grounding and bringing the feed point impedance up to 50 ohms, this one really did a job. It looks a little strange. And there's a Gordomobile, and next week, I'm not here on Ham Nation. I'll be down there on the water working with the United States Coast Guard and Auxiliary with our comm unit. And yeah, I got the antennas. Yeah, we got the large wheels, so we're ready to roll. But I'll miss all of you next week. We're sorry. So having a good radio system in your vehicle, you can be thankful that you have a good match of different radios, Kenwood, Yaesu, ICOM, Alinco. They've got a lot of gear there, and we just are thankful that we pick up the right mic when we get the call. Nothing worse than wrong mic. And in the Gordomobile that has 4 legs and all fiberglass, not great for a ground plane, but up on microwave, no problem. We use the dish itself. And we're swinging over from lead acid to lithium iron phosphate. You know, the Bio-Inno Power lithium iron phosphate batteries not only work just for small loads, but they have them dune buggy size as well as larger for boats and bigger vehicles. This is great technology. Most important is it is relatively compact. It's absolutely safe. It's not going to blow up. And Bio-Inno Power is where you get this lightweight lithium iron phosphate batteries. And these batteries just slip right in, and with each battery you get the protection circuit. And they insisted that I have extra protection. I can't imagine why. They took a look underneath the dune buggy's dashboard. And, well, I mean, that was only a fuel fill. Well, yeah, I'm going to work on that chat room. So get off my back. Thank you very much. And, yes, that wiring has been sort of cleaned up. You cannot have enough radios. Be thankful that there's so many different types of radios for you to carry when you do the next ham swap meet. But you'll be commonplace with that radio. I suggest go back to the 40s and have a real radio as we have here. Whiskey Zulu 6 X-Ray is seen at all of the Hamfest from coast to coast. He's not only spouting this radio, he's on the air on 75 meters, and he's always having fun. That's the important thing to be thankful for. Have fun. There's my Susie in 6GLF. And John Amadeo. And again, John is bringing over the Leia family week after next, and they'll be in the studio on Tuesday on the air, likely on D-Star and many of the other modes. John, thank you for weaving ham radio into some of the casts, and we always enjoy seeing those QSL cards in the back. So thanks, John, for all you do. Now, coming up in January, it is Quartz Fest. And out here, we're going to, between January 9 and 12, we're going to be linking up with the International Space Station. That's an ARISS authorized contact with the Quartz Fest School Systems. And then 2 weeks later, January 22 to 29, we're thankful that there's no set parking spaces. You just bring your unit, park anywhere you want to at Quartz Fest, just south of Quartzsite, Arizona, and you are on the air. We have training all week long, seminars. We have movies on the side of RVs. More later, but it's fun. Quartz Fest coming up in January. And it's always good to be thankful for all of those great phones that have weather reporting. And that is capabilities of going to an app and seeing when we might have a little bit of incoming, which we're going to have here in Southern California in another few more days. We need the rain. We're thankful for that. And rain is always good. We're always thankful for rain, except when we're doing like a field day operation in the middle of nowhere. But we're always thankful for having a lot of plastic to cover up our operating station. So be thankful that we've got the plastic. And coming August 21st, you are going to experience in the middle part of the USA a solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse from one end of the coast to the other, not at the extremes north and south, but about mid-USA, coast to coast, solar eclipse, August 21st. The sun, we're going to see it disappear. We'll be thankful, though, about 10 minutes later, it will reappear. And hams, you know what hams will be doing? They'll be down on 75 and 160, seeing how important the sun is for that kind of propagation. August 21st. Mark it on your calendar. And I will be thankful for having the folks at Palm Springs on February 3 bring me on board for the Palm Springs Hamfest and the Instructor Academy. February 10, 11, and 12, I'm thankful that Orlando says I can come back and have more Instructor Academy and other shows at the Orlando Hamfest in February. Then February 17th and 18th, Yuma, Arizona. I'm thankful they'll have me back. And finally, March 30th, April 1 and 2, I will be in Las Vegas for the Nevada State Amateur Radio Convention doing more training of instructors. So this is good news. I'll be on the road big time. And as ham operators, we're always thankful for those that like to build the kits and do it themselves. We've been doing this for over 100 plus years. Wow, look at some of that gear at the local maker fair. Lots of neat stuff out there on ham radio. And hams, we are thankful that the advent of solar for homeowners has not produced tons of QRN. It always gets worse during Christmas time because those dancing lights look like a dipole antenna to radiate the energy. So hams, be thankful tomorrow on Thanksgiving that we are thankful that Christmas comes but once a year with all these lights and stuff on your neighbor's house tied into their solar charger. I'm happy to say the solar chargers are relatively quiet if well installed, and they use a good one. And for those of you with pets, we love our pets, dogs, cats, you name it. And a ham, Spence Porter, out of ComSpec in Orange, has pet finders. These operate only to hams on the 222 megahertz ham band, and they give you an idea of where Fido has gone. And let me tell you, this is one lucky dog. Without that tag, he'd probably be who knows where, but we were able to locate him thanks to those pet tags from Spence Porter at ComSpec in Orange. They really, really work. So anytime you meet a ham with a fellow pet, give it a pet or two. And there's a little, I don't know what that is, a gerbil, a groundhog. Anyway, we met it at a ham show and it was friendly. So pets are good. And look at that going, I want some turkey tomorrow. I want turkey. So if you have pets tonight, you'll probably find them on the counter or prowling around looking for that big ham or big turkey that you're going to light off for tomorrow, Thanksgiving. So she's like, get off the counter. And likely you'll find tomorrow that your pets will be doing the same thing. You never know what Fido or Bowser will be up to. And all hams, be thankful that you have an extra dishwasher helping out, making sure that all of the Thanksgiving dinner plates are absolutely dishwashers cleaned and recleaned. Good job, boy. Good job. And finally, make sure that during the Thanksgiving time, you be sure and scold your pets to make sure that they don't get on the table. And they'll probably give you a response back. But those things happen on Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving just a few hours away. Oh, boy. After that big Thanksgiving dinner, it's time to sit down with the remote that's probably tied into one of your remote radios and work a little bit of DX and just sit there and regurgitate all that great food that you had for Thanksgiving. And if you can't get it all digested, well, there's always hope, and we're very thankful that in an emergency, the head is, the bathroom is just right around the corner. So Bob and I, being teetotalers and with my spritzer, we want to wish you all a very merry, happy, blessed Thanksgiving Day, and thank you all for making Ham Nation a real fun experience for all of us. So Barry 73, happy Thanksgiving. I won't see you next week. I'll be working with the Coast Guard, but I promise I'll be around week after next. Remember, non-alcoholic, don't drink and drive. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. So Bob, over to you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's great, as all of your segments are. That's super duper. And we do wish everybody a great Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is very special to me in so many ways. But exactly 50 years ago, on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, I opened our Heil Sound, which had actually started off as...
All right. Wow.
It was... We had a beautiful, wonderful Thanksgiving dinner that my mother cooked. And that night, Thanksgiving night, I had to go uptown and nail up the letters that spelled Ye Old Music Shop. And that was the start of the entire thing. It was Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead that changed the name from Ye Old Music to Heil Sound. We were on tour with him a few years later, and he called me on tour. He says, we can't pronounce all of this. Ye Old, what is it? We're just going to call you Heil Sound. Is that okay? And so we've been that since. So it's a very special weekend for me 50 years ago, and we're still very, very strong. And appreciate everything that's happened all of our life and keeping things going. And I want to bring on my good friend and a good friend of the show, Ted Randell. Ted and his family are the caretakers of the great WTWW in close to Nashville. And I thought we'd have him on just a little bit and talk a bit about what's going on there. How are you doing, Ted? Everything okay in Nashville? Aha.
So I'm not 100% sure if Ted's been able to hear us or not. I've been going back and forth trying to connect with him right now.
Goodness. Well, let's show some of those pictures. We got some really great pictures that they took, and here's a few of them if you want to bring them up. That's Holly, and she's at the big transmitter number 2, and they keep it all going. That's for sure. There's Aaron. And look at the size of the parts and pieces of that's a transformer. Look at that thing. That's amazing. Of course, we're talking hundreds of thousands of watts. That's a final tube in one of them. That's Dave. Look at that tube. Man. Here's something of interest. I want you to pay attention to keep this up for a minute. Brian, I want you to notice the feed line. Now, it's open wire feeders, balanced, but look how big the insulators are and how far apart that the spreaders are, because we're talking a ton of power here. Not going to do it with a flatline TV lead, that's for sure. But I got a kick out of that picture. To show us where the transmitters are and the feed line going out of the building and on up to the antennas. That's one of the studios. That's actually a studio at Ted's home, and late night he does wonderful DJ work. If you guys and gals have not listened, you want to do that. That's the main set up, and you'll see he's got tape decks, he's got record players, because they play oldies and they play them right there on those platters. And yeah, they've got some of the digital stuff, but nothing like a good old analog platter, that's for sure. And that's where it all starts. And late night, his programs are just incredible because he has great music. He digs in the archives. On Saturday night at 8 o'clock Central, you get to hear some theater organ music that I do here in my studio. And that's been really a lot of fun, a lot of work. But I just recorded a show today that will play, I think it's on the 10th of December, starting playing Christmas music. And I love playing Christmas music. Let's see, did we get Ted back in here yet? Oh, Skype always plays games with us.
Yeah, I'm still working on getting them on. It doesn't seem to be working at the moment.
I got some other things.
Okay.
Here's an incredible piece of gear, and I want you all to go to a website and check this out. This is a brand new piece of gear, and you want to go to Car Shortwave Radio. That's all one word. CARSHORT Wave Radio. There it is. What this is a little box that you can put it in the trunk. It transmits a signal on 88 down in the 88 meg region, and it comes with a little antenna about 2-3 foot long, and it goes under the trunklet of your car. And there's a video of it that's really cool. That bottom one is really good, but go check this out, and you can listen to shortwave radio in your car with the little remote, and it is just fascinating. I'm having so much fun. It's amazing because there is a lot of things. I mean, a lot of things going on shortwave radio, and you can listen to it as you're right down the road.
I don't know what you have
So-
on here, but
I'm good, Ted, now, Bob.
Hi, Ted. Hey, hey. How you doing?
Pretty good. We're here in Clarksville, actually, at my cousin's house. We have a little Thanksgiving celebration going on here, and you said you wanted to talk about the shortwave. We were hoping to get logged in, but nothing was working. The notebooks weren't working and everything. We finally decided to get it on this cell phone, and it seems to be all right.
There we go. Well, that's cool. Well, we're showing the pictures, and the pictures are fascinating. And there's Dave back and saw Holly. And did you kick Aaron out, or you got Aaron busy? But Aaron's probably running the phone, isn't he?
Well, Matt's here. He's been trying to help us get things figured out. He's taking a break from his Dave Ramsey gig. I guess I want to say I think it's really cool to have Ham Nation on shortwave because of the tremendous outreach that these transmitters have. We had some propagation problems the other night, or I call them problems. Then all of a sudden, emails started pouring in from the Indian Ocean and areas like that. People that are listening, and of course, having your theater organ concert on every Saturday has been. We've got a lot of reaction to that. A lot of people really love that, and it's got an international kind of flavor to it because people overseas really love it. But we're having a lot of fun. The main thing is we're trying to promote the fraternity of ham radio, and we're trying to have fun at the same time. So to me, those are the main two things. We want folks to have fun listening to their shortwave radios and have an alternate use for the ham rig, so to speak. And we love it when we get you on the air, or we get Don Wilbanks on, or George Thomas on as guests, because you guys. You really know how to handle it. You know how to have fun on shortwave.
Absolutely. Well, we're so thrilled and honored to be on the transmitter and bringing ham radio to the outside world. And regardless of what anybody says and all the nonsense you hear on the radio, the people across the pond, as I call it, they love America, and shortwave is a real connection to them. to hear some of the culture and the people and the things that we do over here. So you guys are performing that bridge. You lightly touched on something. The guy that's keeping them on the air, everybody, is Aaron. And Aaron's day job is anytime you hear Dave Ramsey telling you how to save money and build your portfolio, anytime you hear him, Aaron's the guy doing all the microphones. And you do such a great job, Aaron, how you do it, because he runs all over the country and you're right behind him. So that's great. How long have you been working for Dave?
Almost 11 years now.
Wow, that's great. Well, there's what you're looking at, ladies and gentlemen, is an entire family of hams that are broadcast engineers, each one of them. So if you have a transmitter in town that your broadcast guys are having trouble, there you go. Holly, how do you keep all these guys straight? Or they give you any trouble, or you hold?
I don't even
right?
bother trying.
Well, that's great. Well, listen, we really appreciate you coming on. We're going to have you on quite a bit here as we get into more things with WTWW and get everybody a sequence as to what's going on shortwave. And you guys have really been a stalwart of that, I got to tell you. And I'm really excited to get my converter all going. I just got a new car. That's why I haven't installed it, because I knew I was going to get this other car. So I'll get my shortwave converter in this weekend, and we'll be able to listen all the time from the car, from Frank sent this over. It's Expert Technology. That's what I'm looking for. They're BST1, so look up their website. Well, thanks a lot, you guys and gals. I appreciate being here, and I guess after the show, we'll go listen to some music tonight. You have quite a repertoire of good old classic music. I guess you've been collecting it for years, Ted?
Oh, yeah. Being in broadcast radio, got a lot of libraries and a lot of songs. And, and I was going to say, the thing that car shortwave radio is, it really surprised me when I put one in the car. I've gotten addicted to it now. But it'll make your car radio, because it comes in on the FM portion of the dial. You control everything with a little key fob. And it makes your car radio sound like a Wurlitzer jukebox or a Seaberg jukebox if you're listening to us. And we're playing all the oldies and whatnot. It really, really sounds good. We take requests and dedications. So when people are done with all the nets after Ham Nation and all the things that you guys have planned for after the show, and they're still up late at night and they have insomnia, they need to tune in 5085, because we'll keep them going till the wee hours of the morning.
I'm a night, and golly, I go to bed usually about midnight to 1 o'clock, and hey, you're still going. So yeah, there's the little key fob. That's all you need right there. No wires. The thing is really cool and easy to install. Well, thanks a lot for coming on with us, and we'll be on listening after a while, and well, especially Saturday, we'll get some more organ music for you. And the theater organ world's going nuts, because they finally have a place they can go listen to theater organ music. And boy, the audio that you have done has been amazing. All of you. I know each of you work so hard to keep it going, but man, it sounds good. So that's it from WTWW, and thank you so much for simulcasting this. And we'll be again, and you got anything happening, let us know. So we're going to ship her down here. Yeah,
I just want to say that all that we do is made possible by Matt, who obviously you were talking to him is Dave Ramsey's right-hand man for all the technical stuff. David, who is with Trevecca Nazarene University, does all their television and audio. And Holly is my right-hand person, as we work at a group of radio stations here in Nashville. But the thing I was going to say is, Bob, is it's things like this organ music and Ham Nation that makes it possible to put programming on this international shortwave. Now, we got into a discussion a little bit about our website. We are dreadfully behind on websites. It's terrible. But we try to get the radio side of it right. Hopefully we can get the websites up to date pretty soon. But it's just us guys. So if you go up there and you don't see current information, we're the ones to get mad at because we've only got so many arms and legs. And I like to be there every night on 5085 playing music, taking requests, and announcing things that are happening for folks in the ham radio community and shortwave community. Thank you so much for having us on. We really appreciate having you on WTWW.
Well, thank you. We'll do more. We'll get some things happening here with more programming for that great big time transmitter in Nashville. George, have you had your fingers in anything like that, like 100 kW or something like that?
Well, not 100 kW transmitter, 50 kW. I have a 50 kW here, and it's solid state. So, it's just worked. I haven't really had to go in it yet. I hadn't had any problems with it, but I had my hands in a 25 kilowatt earlier this week. But yeah, those shortwave things are really beasts. I swear, I've been to the Continental Factory before, where I think they built probably the first one we saw in the photo there. You can walk up inside of those. There's a door on the side, and you walk right up inside of it to work on it. That's,
just don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything. Don't walk in the door if it's on either.
Yeah. What's going on with chemistry there today? What are you guys doing there?
Well, I was looking for something to have on this week, and I wanted to wear the lab coat, Bob, and this is, I think it's about the only segment I've really done with a lab coat before. So let's take a look at that.
I went through the archives to see what I could come up with that we could look at this month. Something, informative for our viewers.
Back to the Amateur Logic Warehouse.
Back to the Amateur Logic Warehouse. And this is what I came up with. Hi class, I'm Professor Thomas, and the name of this course is Better Living Through Chemistry. Today, we're going to take a look at some of the chemicals you need in your shop. Of course, you need to occasionally clean things, so you're going to need some good chemicals for that. Here's one right here that I use quite often. It's Amazing H2O. It's a multi-purpose cleaner, it's non-abrasive, and it's biodegradable. This stuff right here you should have around because you need to wet that sponge for your soldering iron, and there's a lot of times that a little bit of water would help. If you don't have a sink in your shop, definitely get you some H2O. Another cleaner I use quite often is Formula 409. This stuff cuts really good. It's sort of a degreaser, so it will take off greasy residue, oil, and such, and it's good for a lot of different things. You might also want to have some Windex around because 409 won't clean everything. Of course, electronics get dusty, so you want to have a can of this dust remover. It's compressed air, or actually I think it's compressed carbon dioxide, but that's really good for cleaning out stuff. You can also turn it upside down and you've got a freeze spray there that's good for troubleshooting purposes. Here's one that I use a lot, denatured alcohol. You can't drink this stuff, but it really is good for cleaning flux off PC boards, grease, just a variety of different uses. You really should have some denatured alcohol hanging around in your shop. One other chemical I use quite often is Power Wash. Now, there's a bunch of different brands of this. It used to be Freon based. I'm not sure what they make it out of now. This is just a general contact cleaner, no lubricant in it, strictly a cleaner, and it's sort of a degreaser too. This is good for cleaning switches and contacts, connectors, whatever you've got that's gotten kind of dirty and is making static. Try some Power Wash or something similar to it. This stuff's not as cheap as it used to be, but if you use it sparingly, it can last you a long time. Now, here's one other item that I use a lot. It's Deoxit D5. Now, this stuff has been around for quite a while now. It's made by Kaig Laboratories. There's several different names to it. Originally it was called Cramaline. Then it was named Deoxit. I think today it's called Pro Gold. But this is a contact cleaner, and it also applies a conductive lubricant when you put it on something. So in a lot of cases, it'll help rejuvenate contacts on switches or potentiometers and such. Highly recommended here, Deoxit or Pro Gold. This stuff is also available in a solid form. This is Cramaline copper paste here. I'm not sure what they call it today, but it's like a lubricating paste there that has copper particles in it. It's good for contact cleaning, and it also leaves a lubricant that's conductive. You might use this for heavier duty contacts, things that are pretty high current and will be moving a lot. It's also good to put on battery terminals. While we're looking at stuff in baby food jars, let me just bring this out here. This is Cool silver plating powder. It's actually just a little white powder in there that you can take and rub on copper or on brass. Use a lot of force and a good bit of time doing it, but it will actually put a silver plate on certain metals. Now let's move on over into lubricants. Of course, this is 3-in-1 motor oil. It's just what I happen to have. You could have regular 3-in-1 oil around. That stuff's good too. Another lubricant that I use quite often is a spray-on silicone lubricant. This stuff is great for a variety of uses. Door hinges, cabinets, sliding mechanisms, a lot of good uses. And this stuff doesn't leave a residue like oil, so it's very helpful. Now, they also make a silicone grease, and I've had trouble finding this in recent years, but I finally found a source. You can get this stuff at the auto parts store. There's a variety of different types of it. Some of it's used as a spark plug boot sealant, but look around for silicone grease at the parts store. This stuff is good for putting in bearings that are a little bit worn, mechanical sliders, a lot of different things where you actually can use a little grease on it. Very good. Sometimes things break and we need glue and various different types of compounds to fix that with. Here's one of my favorites right here. This is 3M Super Weather Strip Adhesive. It is sort of like contact cement, but really strong. It holds for a long time. It also is, I've used it as an insulator material before. Very good stuff. Definitely get some of that for your shop. Another type of insulation that you can use is liquid electric tape. I really haven't used this stuff until the past couple of years, and it's pretty nice. It's expensive, but it does do a really good job of insulating. What I would do is probably take some electric tape, put it over my connection first, and then cover it with liquid electric tape. Now here's another type of popular glue here, super glue. I've got some here, but I really don't use this stuff much. You know, you open the tube, use it once, and then it's pretty much hard as a rock. This is good for some things. I try to avoid it, but you know, there's some stuff that's really the only thing that's going to work right for it. One more here that I like. This is Quick Steel. It's an epoxy stick here that you cut off a little bit, you take it and you knead it together, and it really makes a strong glue. This is probably sort of like JB Weld. I haven't used that particular brand myself, but this is what I've used in the past, and I've fixed a variety of things with it. Here's another glue I like right here. It's Elmer's Ultimate Glue. It works for metal, wood, stone, and a lot more. It's a polyurethane based, I believe, but really good glue there that you might want to check out. Sometimes glue won't quite do it for you, and that's why I like Plasti-Pair. This stuff was kind of hard to find. It's made by Rawn Chemicals. Pay attention to the way it's spelled here, Plasti-Pair, P-A-I-R. It really works great for fixing plastic parts. We'll use some of this one day and actually show it in use. There's some white powder in here. You mix that with some of the liquid, stir it up, and it makes just like a little sort of pliable plastic that you can use to repair plastic parts with or make your own plastic parts. Plasti-Pair, highly recommended. Now, as long as we're talking about glue, here's one that you may not need, but if you work with paper and various materials sometime, foil, you can even use this on plastic or metal. It's 3M Super 77 spray adhesive. This is good for a lot of different things. One thing I've used it for is, well, like my Raspberry Pi case here I made. I printed out my label, and then I sprayed the rear of it with some of this Super 77, and I was able to apply that decal right here to my Raspberry Pi case. Now, to keep that thing looking fresh for a long time, you know, the white paper is going to get dirty when you put your hands on it and such. Here's something that I like to have around here. This is a clear wood finish satin. It's actually a spray-on lacquer, and that's good for covering things like this. You could use it on a PC board if it was going to be out in the elements and you needed to protect it. This will just put a little clear spray over whatever you're working with, and it's convenient to have sometimes. Now, we're talking about protecting things. Well, you know, there's a lot of different things that need protecting, and one of the things I like to use here, this is OxGuard. This is used for dissimilar metals. Like, say you've got a copper terminal somewhere, and you're connecting an aluminum wire with it, or vice versa. You know, eventually that thing's going to oxidize, and you're going to have a corroded connection there. It's not going to work very good. You can take a little bit of this stuff here. This is OxGuard. I think there's another one called No-Ox. It's just a black paste here. You take that and you cover your wire and your connector with it, and then screw it together, and you're not going to have corrosion on it. Let's talk a little bit about soldering stuff. Now, of course, you know, you want soldering. I prefer leaded solder myself, but the unleaded stuff does work. There's a couple other things you might want to have, though. This is solder paste. I bought this little box, I don't know, several years ago now, and you can see I've hardly used any out of it. You want to get something like rosin-based or an electronic paste. Be careful of the stuff you buy at the hardware store because it's probably acid-based, and that'll eat up your electronics. You can apply this stuff on wires or connectors or metal that might be a little hard to get started soldering, something that's large. This will allow the solder to flow much faster, and you can keep the heat off of that component and probably get a better connection in the long run. You can also get liquid flux, and here's some in a little flux pen right here. This is made by Kester. You can take this pen and you just brush it on the PC board or whatever you're working on. It really gets that solder flowing good. Here's some Wright's anti-tarnish silver polish. You could use Brasso if you want, but you know, it's kind of handy to have some little polish around sometime. If you've got a piece of metal that's dull, you can use this stuff right here to brighten it back up. It also can be used on plastic or other materials, so having a little polish handy could be a good thing. Well, thanks for joining us for Better Living Through Chemistry. We hope you got a few tips here that'll be useful in your shop.
Well, since I produced that segment back in the 50s, there's been a few more chemicals that I've added to my workbench. And I noticed a lot of them being mentioned there in the chat room. A lot of things I left out, but here's one in particular that, you know, I've known about this stuff. I just haven't had a can here in the shack. And until recently, I started using this as a solder flux remover, acetone. That's one more that should have been on the list right there. Well, I've got some things to give away here. You know, last week I asked a question, and if you'll remember, we looked at the scope squid, that little accessory that we built and used with the oscilloscope. I asked what was the original name of that, and I got an answer here from David Hickson. He said the scope squid is also called the octopus, and that's correct, David. DX Engineering will be sending you, and boy, it's so big I can't hardly get it on the camera here. It's the DX Engineering sports bag, a great bag for hauling stuff to field day in, put your clothes in, take it to the Hamfest, whatever you want to do. This is a real nice heavy-duty sports bag here. Coming to you courtesy of DX Engineering. For next week, I've got another question here, and this one's going to come from the amateur radio technician exam. You know, we'll be shooting the next episode of Ham College this Friday night at 8 Central, and you can watch that over at amateurlogic.tv live.amateurlogic.tv. If you're looking for something to do Friday night while you're still digesting turkey, this will be one of the questions we're going to have on there. What is the approximate amount of change measured in decibels, that's dB, of a power increase from 20 watts to 200 watts? And your choices are A, 10 dB, B, 12 dB, C, 18 dB, or D, 28 dB. So you think you know the answer to that? Well, you could win an MFJ, and this is the 2703N. Actually, I think I got that backwards. This is what MFJ is going to be sending to David Hickson. He won the MFJ 2703 Type in three-way antenna switch, and I think they're going to give him a choice of whether he wants a Type in or a PL259. These are very good antenna switches. So you could still win the DX Engineering Sports Bag. If you think you know the answer to the question I just asked, send your answer to me, hamnationcontest@gmail.com. And DX Engineering may be sending this to you for the holidays. Well, now let's get a message from ICOM, and then we'll be right back.
Holiday season is here. Looking for the ideal gift for your favorite contester? The holidays are just around the corner, and ICOM has an array of radios to fill your stockings or place under the tree. Perfect for the contester on the go, try the IC7300. It's a high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with compact design. The real fun starts here. RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, and SD memory card slot. Push performance to the pinnacle with the IC7600. Following in the footsteps of ICOM's flagship radio, the IC7600 offers intuitive operation and the latest DSP technologies. Digital IF filter, dual DSP, 5.8-inch ultra-wide TFT display, and high-resolution real-time spectrum scope. Raise the bar with the IC7851. Hear what others cannot with this HF 50 MHz transceiver. Reciprocal mixing dynamic range, crystal clear local oscillator design, spectrum scope, dual receivers, digital voice recorder, and more. To learn more about these and all of ICOM's great radios, visit icomamerica.com/amateur today.
And you can tune in and enter to win after each episode of Ham Nation. Go to icomamerica.com/hamnation and register to win great swag prizes like T-shirts and hats. And while you're there, learn how you could win in the monthly grand prize drawing for a new radio. And for November, that new radio is the ICOM ID51A Plus dual band, dual watch VHF UHF handheld transceiver. It does both analog and D-Star. It has a built-in GPS receiver, DV and FM repeater list function, independent AM/FM receiver, a free Android app is available, and much more. So go to icomamerica.com/hamnation after this and each episode of Ham Nation and register to win. Sign up, good luck, and don't forget to follow ICOM America Inc. on Facebook and Twitter. And now Dell is back with us tonight. And Dell, I'm waiting to see if you have your pilgrim suit on tonight.
No, I thought about it, but then I thought, well, maybe I better not after that clown show on Halloween. So we're waiting for Thanksgiving. Though, hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, George, and everyone else here on the show and in the chat room. And we're going to have a fairly short video segment this evening. on this Thanksgiving Eve. A couple of short videos to keep you out of trouble, keep your mind off of something while you're waiting to cook the turkey there. So let's jump right in now and visit a Swap Fest. It's an annual event for the Fox Cities Amateur Radio Club in Wisconsin. Our reporter's Dan in 9LVS. He's our Ham Nation Wiki editor.
The Fox Cities Amateur Radio Club held their Hamfest on Sunday, November 6, 2016, at Monarch Gardens in Appleton. 6 a.m. comes really early, but we need a little bit of time to set up. If you've never been to a Hamfest before, there's one very obvious way that you can tell when you've arrived at a Hamfest, other than seeing the sign out front. That's all the antennas on all the vehicles. There's antennas of every shape and size, some commercially built, and some are just strange homebrews. And you can also tell from the parking lot that this is one busy Hamfest. When the doors opened up at 8 o'clock in the morning, the line was out the door. People looking for that item that they didn't really need and now can't do without. And Bernie and Lori were kept very busy. As the doors opened up, things got very busy. There were loads and loads of tables full of all kinds of stuff. Everything from old gear to new gear was there. The ARL was there, as well as Wolf River Coils, and the RF adapter guy. And LaFrog was also there. There was also some 3D printing as well. Items from little trinkets to gaskets and similar items. There was some nice old radios there as well, like this Transoceanic. And if you're into Heath kits, this was definitely the thing to get, all nice and shiny. There was also some old test equipment, which was also in very good shape. And let's not forget the VE testing, with guys and gals looking to get their tech, general, or extra class exam. This is usually one of our best VE test sessions throughout the year. And that's the Fox Cities Amateur Radio Club Swap Fest 2016. From Monarch Gardens in Appleton, Wisconsin, this is Dan at 9LVS, bidding you 73.
Well, thanks, Dan. It's always great to present your videos here on Ham Nation. We're going to have another one from Dan in one of the next episodes or two. He's got a tutorial on all of the iOS apps available for ham radio operators. We'll be showing that one to you here in the near future. Right now, let's wrap up tonight's video segment and present the final episode, number 6, of an outstanding DIY video series from Bob Bryce, VE3HKY. Tonight he shows us how to make guy wire attachment rings. Here's Bob.
Starting with a piece of number 12 copper wire, enameled wire. And the first thing you do, this is 6 inches long, it could be 5 inches long. First thing you do is simply just wrap it around the post that I've got here, which is 1/2 inch. So anything that you have that's 1/2 inch in diameter that you can use in this manner should work fine. So that's the first part of it. Now, the second part, you just simply unclamp it from the vise. And put it back in the vise, clamped. And you've used this just as a spacer, and then simply bend it over with your fingers. So there you are, it's bent over. Okay, now we'll show you the next stage. Okay, I find it easiest just to now put a clamp around the wire that I'm going to use here for my guy, and just clamp it, and then just grab a hold of your wires here, and just bend them back. Bend them back, and then you can trim them off because you don't need that length. And if you want, you can even flatten them a little after you've got them cut the size. Take a little off that. That should be just fine. So that's it. You've now made your guy clamp. So I'll just squeeze those in slightly, and that way it's going to make a bit of a better fit around the gear clamp. There. you're finished. That's it. So there we have the our clamp for our guy ropes. Very easy, just slips on and slips off. Just slides right over. Tighten up your gear clamp, and you're finished. Very, very simple, very effective. Again, the guy wire arrangement, and what I've done is I've just put on one wire. So you would have one guy wire going over in that direction, and then you would have, of course, one coming in this direction for guying it. So that just gives you a view of it, what it looks like when you actually have it in place on the antenna.
Well, thanks, Bob, for preparing these bite-sized segments for us to present here on Ham Nation. We really appreciate it. Again, if you'd like to see the entire hour-long video that Bob made, it's called Making a 7-Band Semi-Vertical Trap Antenna. There's also one about making a dipole. If you'd like to see those, visit his site on Vimeo. Just go to https://Vimeo, that's Vimeo.com/339-26047. That's 339-26047. Well, when he's not making videos and building antennas, Bob shares his talent with elderly hams around the United States. He's gifted 10 of his 7-band portable dipole antennas to hams who've been forced to go off the air because they relocated to a home that did not allow installation of permanent antennas. He told us a story about Frank, 86, in Orange City, Florida, who moves and thinks, according to Bob, like he's 36. Now, Bob told us he tracked Frank's package with FedEx, called him the day it arrived to make sure it was in good condition. And Frank, who'd been a ham for 60 years when he was forced off the air at age 80, answered and told Bob that 20 minutes after he signed the FedEx receipt, he was talking to a guy in Italy. He'd already worked ST0R in southern Sudan. Bob's antenna was only 7 feet above the ground, looking into 2 large trees. Frank was running 100 watts. His single sideband contact spanned 8,500 miles. So really a good thing Bob is doing for elderly hams there. If you'd like to see more of Bob's DIY videos, let him know. And we'll be back on the 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, with more Ham Nation videos, hopefully with one from you. But before we can do that, you need to send us the link. Put it in an email address to hamnationvideos@twit.tv. Well, that's it for the video segment this Thanksgiving Eve. It's time now to see if Amanda's got the turkey cooking there in Canyon City as we switch to our studio. Amanda, what's up in the chat room?
Hi, Dale, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Thank you. Let's see. First of all, I have some announcements to make. So we've had a lot of people have been studying this fall, evidently, to upgrade to general. So this is great news. We have KY4 TRK James, who's an AG now. We have one of my good friends, Kurt, in Aurora, Colorado, W0FGG. He just upgraded to general. And Gordo, this is a special announcement just to you. Kurt has been following your books and been reading your books for a couple of years now to upgrade. So he is so excited. And I know he's been on the HF waves everywhere. So he has a big thank you to you. And go ahead.
Oh, that's great, Amanda. I'm glad he made it. Now, most important, that he's hit general. Don't even think about extra. Get on the air and enjoy general.
I think so. I think he's already been on there. I can't wait to make a QSO with him myself. I think he's about 21 years young now, and he's having a ball on there. So, and one more here, we have W1 NGA Al in Colorado Springs, also upgraded to general. So you guys, congratulations. You know, this is a great weekend to get on the air and enjoy those HF waves. So The next announcement I have is if anyone was working the sweepstakes this weekend and happened to work Pat, KG5 FIF, he was doing his paper logging and also logging with DX Keeper. But unfortunately, he had a little bit of a snafu and lost his times and frequencies with some of those, or actually all of his contacts. So if anyone absolutely needed Mississippi for their clean sweep, he'd really like you guys to get a hold of him, and he can figure those out for you and make sure you get credit for those contacts. So again, his call sign is Kilo Golf 5 Fox India Fox. And you can look him up on QRZ and find his email address and get a hold of him, and you guys can work out those contacts. And he really appreciates us making this announcement for him. And speaking of the sweepstakes, if you guys didn't catch it on Facebook because you're not following us on Ham Nation on twit.tv, you should be, because Val put on an awesome video there. She was doing it live from her ham shack, and it was pretty neat to watch her work in the sweepstakes. It was great. And everyone always comments about how awesome the audio is. Now, we know why some of that is. She's wearing an awesome Pro 7 headset there as well, but it really was some great audio. All of that being said, let's get down to a couple of questions here. Gordo, the first question is going to be for you. We have someone trying to say hello here. We have, this is radio. Sorry, you guys. Someone in our chat room says that they're suffering from some disabilities, and they've been trying to follow your book to get their technician license, and it just doesn't seem to be working for them, Gordo. Do you have suggestions, maybe some classes that they can take, some online material that maybe they can look at to keep studying and keep working towards that technician license?
That's terrific. You know, many local ham radio clubs do a fabulous job of offering classes, and I would encourage this applicant that he may want to consider the audio course that we do. It is audio CDs that we produce for technician class, but really more important is to get one-on-one tutoring with a live instructor. So have him contact the American Radio Relay League, look for the local ham radio instructor or VE system in his area. Give them a call and tell them Gordo and Ham Nation and Amanda sent them, plus Amanda's dog, and they will probably embrace him and give him the special help necessary to get him onto ham radio that knows any type of impairments. Ham radio is for everyone.
Absolutely. And as far as I'm aware, VE teams go out and make special visits for people that can't get out and take a test. Is that correct, Gordo?
It is absolutely correct. Many VE teams take great pride in being able to offer examinations to those hams that are not able to get out of their homes easily, to those hams in special facilities. So indeed, contact both the W5YI VEC as well as the ARRL VEC and others. And I bet there'll be ham radio operators willing to come together. It takes 3, and they will come to your applicant.
That's great. Thank you, Gordo, for all that wonderful info. By the way, love the way you look tonight. Great digs there. Bob, so nice to have you on at the end of the show. I have a quick question for you. We have Lee, who would like to know he's using, or if you're using a messenger line with insulated wire, when it gets wet, does it hamper the performance?
I have never seen that. I don't think that would bother it at all. I have lots of them here. There's 7 messenger lines out here, although I'm using the coaxial dipoles. But through my 60 years, I've had all kinds of antennas, of wire antennas, and I've never had that happen. So I think you'll be okay.
Very good. Well, you guys, that's all the questions. Oh, go ahead, Gordo.
Gordo, with a comment on messenger lines. Bob is absolutely correct. Throughout 90% of the country, no problem. However, if they live right along the coast, as we do here in Southern California, salt air will begin to permeate those messenger lines, and they become ever so slightly conductive. So we want to be very cautious that they don't absorb the salt air coming in from the ocean. But if he's not near the ocean, good to go, as Bob indicated.
That's great. All right, you guys, that's all the questions I have for tonight. Just would like to say thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And we have so many things to be thankful for. But first, I would love to say thank you to our viewers watching us here on Ham Nation. If you guys aren't watching, we wouldn't be here. And also thanks to Twit and to our sponsors on Twit. Without them, DX Engineering, ICOM, some of the other ones, Harry's, and I can't remember most of the other sponsors, but without them, we, again, wouldn't be here. So thanks, everyone. I'll send it back to you, Bob.
Well done. And we're all very agreeable with that statement, that's for sure. I have a little bit of news that I learned yesterday, and I'm so thrilled. You'll hear a lot more about this. But if you get QST or the bulletins on December the 11th, that is a big anniversary. It's the anniversary of the first transcontinental wireless transmission that was done from Greenwich up in Maine to Scotland. And they're going to recreate that. And it's going to be a big deal. And then the W1AW will set up, and they'll be using the equipment that Joe Walsh and I put together for the AM station at W1AW. So we're going to have a really neat special event. So beware. Mark it down, December the 11th. I don't have any more details. I talked to Tom Gallagher, who is the new head of the ARRL. We're so happy to have him because he's got some great ideas to further amateur radio, and this is just one of them. The second one, check this out, guys and girls. Starting in January, AM is back at W1AW. They're going to start doing their bulletins on 7290. And it's really wonderful because AM is really growing. For years, a lot of people thought it was dead, but not true. A lot of young, new hams are discovering how much fun it is to get these old radios and restore them and put them on the air. I look at it like Don and his vintage car. Restoring it and having all the fun of driving it. And guys go out and buy a 55 Chevy and have fun with it. Well, it's the same thing. I have a lot of people say, how do you like that old garbage? Why don't you have a new? I have all the new stuff too. But I'm going to tell you something. What you're seeing right behind me is my favorite on every day, the little ICO. I love this stuff on AM, and the quality of the audio is fabulous. You need to try it. As the ARRL starts growing again with AM, we'll start doing some more segments so you guys and gals can get into it. So really happy. And once again, it's our 50th year. And I'm so blessed that we're able to keep everything going and have all the fun at Heil Sound. And, of course, it's Sarah that's doing it. She now owns and runs the company. I just invent stuff. That's why I do. So we got a lot of new inventions that's about ready to be launched, so stay tuned. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We had a great time tonight. I know I did. I missed everybody when I'm out on the road. It's tough. I miss all you guys and gals, but we're here for some time now, and we'll have some more fun. So be tuned and be sure and listen on WTWW. My gosh, they're 25:30 over 9 tonight. Here in the Ozarks. Just a big, big signal. Thanks so much. Best regards, and keep the tubes or the transistors warm. And we'll talk again next week. A very blessed and a very memorable and a very meaningful Thanksgiving with your family. Bye-bye for now from K9EID and the entire crew here at Ham Nation.